What's going on, guys? Jim Game Guru. Today's video, I'm gonna do some Pandemic Hot Zone right here in North America. It's a smaller pandemic game. It's definitely not like the bigger version. I mean, it plays similarly to the big version, but the board is definitely pretty small, and they use these little baby cards, and I can't stand these baby cards. These little teeny tiny baby cards, American style baby cards. So I'm gonna do a two-player simulation. On the board we have the U.S., well, pretty much all North America here, and then we have the player cards here, deck here. Then we have the infection deck here. We have the outbreak track that goes from 0 to 4, which is instantaneous death. And then we have the infection track, which goes from 2 to 4. And this is a 2 to 4 player game. You have we're gonna play right here. These two players. We're gonna play the medic and we're gonna play the dispatcher. And then we have also the generalist and the researcher that we're not playing with over here. But you can see the teeny tiny cards. Each of these little roles have special abilities. The generalist can do up to 5 actions. The medic, when you treat a disease, you can remove all of the cubes in one color. The dispatcher, you can move, basically he moves people. He moves any pawn directly to any other pawn's city. And there's actually a second action as well on each card. Well, on these two guys. And then this researcher, give a city card from your hand to another player in the city. The card does not need to match your city. Okay, so those are the roles. So these two pawns right here, I'm just going to keep them aside because we're not playing with them. We're just going to play with these two guys that match the colors of the cards. We have a bunch of color cubes over here. And then we have the treat disease, or the cure disease markers on the side as well. The cure disease markers will end up going over here once you find cures to the disease. So in this game, what you do is you move your pawns around to different cities, and you treat the actual disease that are in each of the cities. And the goal is to find a cure for all 3 types of diseases: the yellow, blue, and the red. That's the only way you can win this game. The only way you can win, you find a cure for all 3, and you're done. There are 3 conditions though on losing. One is if the outbreak track goes all the way down to 4, you lose. That's instantaneous death right there. The other way, which is the hardest way to prevent from losing, is the player deck. If the player deck has 0 or 1 cards left in it and you can't draw 2, game is over, you lose. And the other way is if you go to put some more cubes on a city of that color and there are no more disease cubes left for that color and you can't put another cube on the board, then you lose. 3 ways of losing, 1 way of winning. So we went ahead and set up the player deck. The player deck is what you do is, in order to get this set up, you shuffle the player deck, and then you give each player a certain number of cards. And in this case, we've got 3 cards for each player because we're playing a 2-player game. And then after that, you split the player deck into 3 piles. There's 3 Now, when you shuffle it the first time to give each player the cards, you're not going to shuffle it with the epidemic cards in there. There's epidemic cards in here, and those ones you leave out when you're shuffling the very first time. That's something that screwed me up when I first set up the game, because I shuffled all the cards thinking that they're all like they needed to be shuffled, but I didn't realize you had to pull the 3 epidemic cards out. You pull them out, you shuffle, you deal the cards out, and then you split this deck into 3 piles, evenly sized piles. You put the epidemic cards in each one of those piles, and then you shuffle each one of those, and then you stack them on top of each other, and that gives you your end player deck that you're going to put here on the board. Your infection deck, you just shuffle that really easily, just slap it there. So now we're going to go ahead and go through the next part of the setup, the game setup, which is we're going to put cubes on cities. The first thing you do is you do 3. So this city gets 3. You're going to draw 2 for the 3. Now Denver's going to get 3. Where's Denver at? Right here. Now you're going to do 2 cubes. So you have Seattle with 2 cubes. And then Montreal with 2. And now we're going to do the ones. Dallas 1. And Washington 1. Okay. Now, how do you get outbreaks in this game that make these go down? Is whenever there's 3 cubes in a spot and an infection card gets drawn and it's that same city, and we have to put 1 cube on a city that already has 3, well, that causes an outbreak. And what that does is, because you can't have more than 3 cubes on a city, so the outbreak means that each city next to that city, connected to that city, will end up getting 1 cube from that outbreak. And you can have chain outbreaks. So if a city next to it has 3 and you put 1 on that and it causes another outbreak, then boom, 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 you have a chain outbreak and it keeps going. The track, I believe, only gets increased on the initial outbreak. If you have a chain outbreak, it won't increase it per outbreak. Okay, so these little blue cards here tell you actions that you can make. You can do up to 4 actions per turn, except for the generalist. So obviously, you get that roll gets 5. So there are 6 types of actions. One is to drive, or ferry, which you move to a connected city. The second action is a direct flight. You can discard a city card to move directly to that city. Charter flight, discard the city card, matching the city that you're already in, so you can travel to any other city. And then you have a treat disease. You take 1 cube off. You have share knowledge, which you can trade city cards when somebody else is in the same city. And then you have discover a cure, which is you turn in 4 cards in Atlanta of the same color for the cities, and you cure the disease of that color. Okay. There are additional cards that for this player deck that I'm not playing with, and they're crisis. They're called the crisis cards, and these will actually add challenge, because it will have like random events kind of happen when you draw them. So I'm not gonna play with these cards in this run. I just want to kind of show you how the base game is played. And if I'm not mistaken, Pandemic, the bigger size Pandemic, actually plays very similar to this one. I don't think there's any like crazy differences. There might be some, but I think for the most part the games play the same. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and fire up here. The medic now has a special ability that he can treat 3 cubes as part of the 1 action for treating, which is very nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the medic. So I got 4 actions, and I'm gonna go to Indianapolis. What am I going to do? No, actually, no, I'm not going to do that here. I think I am going to put Phoenix so I can do a flight. So I'm going to go from Atlanta to Phoenix as 1 action. Then my second action is to go to Denver. Then my third action is to treat all, because that's what the researcher can do. Sorry, not the researcher, the medic. His ability is to remove all with 1 treatment. And then I'm going to go to San Francisco and just end my turn there. Now that I've ended my turn there, what's going to happen is I'm going to draw 2 player cards. So I got Atlanta and I've got Toronto. That's good. And now we've got to go ahead and increase the infection. The marker up here for the infection is how many infection cards you draw. So we got 1 in Havana. Put 1 there. And you draw 2 of them and you get 1 at Phoenix. So 1 at Phoenix right there. Okay. Now the dispatcher is going to go. Dispatcher's got what? He's got Minneapolis, Havana, and Indianapolis in his hand. So that's actually pretty good. So he's going to go ahead and put Havana down, and he's going to fly to Havana for 1 action. And then he's going to go to whatever this city's called. I can't even pronounce that, for the second action. And then the last 2 actions, he's going to remove 2 cubes and be done. So now we've got all, like the entire North America here only has 2 cubes max on a city. So now I'm containing an outbreak, because I don't want the outbreak to happen to push us toward this instantaneous death limit. And I also don't want the outbreak to happen because I don't want it to spread faster, right? So this person is done. They're going to go ahead and draw 2 cards. They got Miami in Los Angeles. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to increase the infection. Atlanta gets a cube. And Guadalajara gets a cube. Guadalajara, where are you? There we are. Okay, there we go. So now the medic's going to go. So now I have 2 blue cards in here. So I could probably hold on to these 2 blue cards to see if I can end up getting 4. Because in this game, you have to find the treatment to the cure for the diseases really, really fast. Because like I said earlier, this is the easiest way to lose the game, is the player deck. I went through a few runs with this, playing with my friend, and I found that the outbreak death really never happened. We contained it pretty well. And then the cube, not having enough cubes to put on the board, never really happened. The only thing that messed us up was you run out of player cards, and that's what is instantaneous death too when you hit that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here 1 for Seattle, and I'm going to do another one to treat, because the medic obviously has the take all cubes for 1 action point. So that's 2 action points that we've done. And let's go ahead and we'll go to Calgary and Denver and come back this way. Okay, so he's done. So now we're going to draw 2 more cards. Denver and Epidemic. Okay, so here's how the Epidemic is played. Well, the first thing I gotta say is that you can only have a limit. You can only have 6 cards in your hands total, and we have not yet hit that yet. But only a maximum of 6 cards per player's hand. So right now we have 5, but this is going to go to the discard because it's an epidemic. So an epidemic, what you do is you increase the infection marker. That's the first thing you do, over 1. Then the next thing you do is you pull a card from the very bottom of the deck. That card ends up getting 3 disease cubes. Right here. 1, 2, 3. And then the last thing we do is we shuffle the discard pile of the infection deck. And let's go ahead and shuffle. And another reason why I hate these damn little baby cards. It's hard to shuffle. This box, the box for this game actually is really, it's small, but it's got enough space in there for regular sized cards, and I don't know why they chose to go with the baby cards. Maybe they're trying to keep the board as small as possible, but they should have just made the board a little tiny bit bigger in order to have regular sized cards. Okay, sorry, I gotta put this on top. So you shuffle those and you put that on top, and then now the next player goes, which is the medic. So medic, I'm gonna go 1, 2, and I want to spend my 3rd action point to treat this and get rid of all those cubes. And then I'll spend my 4th action point to come down to Guadalajara. And I get to draw 2 more cards. Okay, so one is I drew an event card. This is kind of cool. This one's called Remote Treatment. Play anytime. I can play this at any time. I don't have to. It doesn't count as an action. And this is to return any 2 cubes from the board to the supply. Now, what's my second card? Monterey. Okay, so now I have over 6 cards. So I don't know what I'm going to do here. The other player has 2 red cards. So what I might do is I might end up just getting rid of Denver. And then holding on to 2 yellows and 2 blues. So now we're done. Now we're going to go ahead and do the infection. Washington. It's a blue. So now that has 2. And Los Angeles gets 1. Thank God I treated Los Angeles, because that would have been an outbreak. Okay, so the dispatcher goes. Dispatcher. Dun, 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 dun. What is dispatcher going to do? He's going to spend 1 to treat that one. He's going to move over to Havana for 2. And he's going to treat Havana for 3. And he's going to come up to Miami for his 4th move. Now he's got to draw 2 more. He's got Dallas. And he's got Chicago. Okay. So the dispatcher has 6 cards still. So we're still good. Now we're going to go ahead and do the infection. Montreal. And we're going to do Denver. Okay. So this last step here with the player's turn of actually drawing the infection is very important. If you ever find yourself in a pandemic game and you're like, why isn't the infection growing on the map? It's probably because you're not doing this last step. I've actually encountered that twice where I forgot to do the stupid last the draw for the infections. Okay, so medic. What is medic going to do? He is going to... I think what he's going to do is he's going to play... I'm going to play my event card here. Remove 2 cubes from the board of the supply. I'm going to remove the 2 from Montreal. That way it doesn't cost me an action point. I need... And the other reason why I'm doing that is to make my hand go down to 5. And I'm going to see if there's a way I can reduce my hand size. I'm going to play that to go to Calgary. And then what I'm going to do is spend another action to go to Denver, and then treat Denver, and then spend another action just to go to Phoenix. Okay, so we'll just do that. So now I've got down to 4 cards. Let's see what we can do. And an epidemic. Okay, so here comes another epidemic. And what we do on the epidemic, just like I did before, is take the bottom card. It's Santo Domingo, and that one gets 3. 3 cubes right over here. And we also increase this infection counter. So now I have to draw 3 of these for every single infection. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and shuffle this. Now this is bad. See, this is bad because Santo Domingo just ended up getting 3 tokens on it. So, and I have to shuffle this discard deck and put it on top of the infection deck, right? Which means that if Santo Domingo gets hit on these 3 that I have to draw, then it's going to have an outbreak. But let me go ahead and draw my last player card, which is Washington. So now I have 3 blues in here. All I need is 1 more blue to get a cure for blue. And with the other person, they have 3 reds, and I'm hoping that they can eventually get a 3rd red to find a cure for the red disease. Let's go ahead and draw infection. Let's see what happens. And there you go. It's the very first one. So Santo Domingo gets a cube here, but an outbreak happens. So 1 cube goes here, and 1 cube goes there. I think that maybe this one connects to C. No, it doesn't. Okay. All right. So we got that because did I? Yeah, only Havana. Did I put one on Miami too? I can't remember if I put one on Miami. Miami's not connected to Santa. All right, whatever. Okay. And we go ahead and draw another one. We'll do Denver. And we'll draw a 3rd one, which is Montreal. So this one wasn't too bad because the outbreak happened on an outside city, which only connects to Havana. And I don't know if I put one on Miami for that, but that was wrong if I did put one on Miami from that one. Because it's not connecting, but I can't remember. Okay, so we drew the 3. So now go ahead and we're going to go ahead and play as the dispatcher. The dispatcher is... He's going to turn in Miami because he is in Miami. So he gets a charter flight to Santo Domingo. And he's going to spend 3 to knock all of those out. So bye-bye. Now we're going to go ahead and draw 2. He gets an event. Okay, so he gets to move. He drew airlift, which is an event card. Move 1 pawn to any city. Okay. Oh, and he drew another event card, which is skip the draw infection card set. This is actually an awesome card. This is if you're running into problems with a bunch of infections on the board, and this will actually allow you to skip that draw for infection cards, which is fantastic. All right. So I just drew those. So this is what? 7 cards, right? Well, I'm going to go ahead and play this now. Screw it. So that will enable me to skip the drawing of the 3 cards. Don't have to worry about that. Okay, so now we go ahead and do the medic. The medic's going to go ahead and treat this. He's going to move over to Dallas for the 2nd point. He's going to treat that for the 3rd. And we'll just go ahead and mosey on over to Indianapolis. I really hope that we draw some blues. Yes, New York. Haha. And the other one's New Orleans. So this is a tough situation because We have 3 yellows and 4 blues. Obviously, we want to keep the 4 blues because that's going to cure the blue disease. But I wish I could hold on to the 3 yellows too, because we're only 1 away from a yellow, which kind of sucks. I mean, I guess I'll just discard Monterey then to go back down to 6. So now the researcher goes. He's going to move over 1, cure this. He's going to move up 1, cure that. So what? He did 1, 2, 3, 4. So he stops. Now he gets to draw. He drew Seattle, and you draw an event card. So what are we going to do? This guy keeps drawing the event cards. The current player can do 2 additional actions this turn. So we'll go ahead and discard the airlift. We're going to keep the 4 reds because we need them. And maybe we'll discard one of the blue ones, Indianapolis. That'll keep us to 6. Okay, so now we got to draw 3 infection cards. Washington. And we drew Los Angeles, so that gets another one. And now we have to draw a 3rd, which is Dallas. And Dallas gets 1. All right, so researcher is done. So now we're going to come up to some curing here. So we're going to move the medic to Atlanta. And I've got 4 blues, right? 4 blues. Those 4 blues go right into the discard because I want to find a cure for that. So I can now put this blue cure on that. Fantastic. So now that was 1 action point, right? After I moved. So that's 2 action points. My 3rd action point is going to go over here. My 4th, I will treat all of those. Yes, Washington now does not have 3 infection cubes on it. All right, disease cubes. Now let's go to increasing the infection here. Havana, Atlanta, and Phoenix. Okay. Did I draw 2 over here? I didn't draw 2 over here yet. So Santo and Montreal. But you can see how the player deck is the problem. I mean, look at that. 5 more cards left. That's crazy. So this may be another loss too. So I'm going to go up here with the researcher. Now he's going to turn in 4 too. Or not the researcher. I keep saying this guy's a researcher. Dispatcher. I'm going to turn 4 of the reds in. Boom. Find a cure for red. All right. There we go. And he's got no other cards, so he's not gonna be able. I mean, I would use this event card if he had additional cards that could actually cure, but he doesn't. So, so we moved 1 there. We treated for 2, and then I'm gonna spend 2, the last 2 he's got, to remove those disease cubes. Okay, so let's go ahead and spread the disease. That city I can't say the name of. Seattle and Guadalajara. Okay, there we go. Medic's gonna go now. Medic is gonna go. Where am I gonna go? She's gonna spend 1 action point to go ahead and discard Montreal. Fly to Montreal. Spend the 2nd one to get rid of all those cubes, and then 3rd and 4th to come back to Chicago. Right. And now, let's see. He's going to draw 2. Oh, he's drawing epidemic. Okay, lovely. Let's see if we can actually pull this game out. So it's Boston. Boston is the one that gets 3. Okay, so Boston gets 3. This encounter goes up to 4. Oof. Oof. Okay, and then now, whoops, that stays down. We have to shuffle these. We'll do a nice light little shuffle. Super simple, easy shuffle. Okay, now we got to draw 4 when it comes time to it. So I need... Did I draw another one? I can't remember if I drew another one here. No, I don't think I drew the second one yet for this person, right? Which is Boston. Okay, fantastic. Now we're going to do 4. Dallas. Havana. That city again. The one I can never pronounce in Washington. There we go. So we've got how many cards left in the player deck? 3. Ooh. And we're toast. We're not going to win. We need yellow. We might be able to win because we haven't gotten to the discard yet. No, we can't. See, this player here, the medic, needs to have yellow already in possession. But okay, so now that he drew these 2 cards, I don't know if there's a way that, I mean, share knowledge is the only way that I can even think of getting one yellow card from this player to this other player. But the only issue is that we both need to be down into the same city in order to do it, and then have another turn to be able to fly back up or move back up to like Atlanta to deliver the cure for the yellows. Yeah, there's no way, because in order to get really quickly from here, I would have to spend a yellow card to fly down. The other person would have to spend a yellow card, and then they would have to give one of the yellow cards over to the other player. But if I did that, I would still just be left with 3 yellow cards, and I still have to come back to Atlanta. So this game is a failure. We have died from the lack of player cards. This is one of the conditions that ends the game. So you have to make, it's all about optimization in this game. You have to optimize every single playthrough to find the cure as quickly as possible in order to win. We found 2 of them. We found 2 of the 3, but the yellow was not in our grasp. So that's how you play it. That's how you play Pandemic Hotzone North America. It plays very similar to the big style game of Pandemic, and yeah, it's fun. I like the game as long as you're pushed and you're always like in panic mode. There's only been one time that it wasn't very fun, and that was when every single player that I was playing with ended up getting sets of a color, and it was very easier to find the cure. That's the only time that I've noticed this game is super easy to beat, is if with the luck of the draw and from the player deck, certain players end up getting a run of nothing but one color. Then it's like, okay, it's easy peasy getting the cures. But other than that, I feel like it's always down to the player deck that ends up killing you. But that's it, guys. This is Pandemic Hotzone North America. And this is by Z-Man Games. And I will see you later till the next video. Bye.